Okay, so we'll start seated. And have that block close by. And just ground yourself in Sukhasana, sitting up nice and tall. I have a beautiful view of the sun coming up. So it is, it's definitely nice being outside again. I love it. Maybe a little sway here side to side. And then begin to just kind of plant one hand to the side and reach up and over. And then switching sides. And you see how my whole hip's coming up off the ground. So try to stay grounded through the hips and just get long through that side waist. And instead of getting faster here, try to slow it down. So we're not just waving arms, but we're actually trying to get into that long side waist. So maybe even start to take an extra breath and bend that lower elbow a little bit. Maybe even perhaps start to come down to the forearm and then begin to switch sides. Maybe one more time. Nice and deep. Getting into that long side waist. Perfect. All right. And from here, from Sukhasana, begin to walk your hands forward. If you can use the block if you want. You can come down to the block with your forearms. Bow your head. Hinge at the hips. Take a couple deep breaths and their forward fold. Kind of explore the space that you have here in the back body, in the hips. Ground through the sits bones as you lean forward. Try to iron out the length of your spine. So you're kind of telescoping through the crown of the head. You might even lift the chest up here just a little bit. Energize the torso, the core muscles, so that you're not rounding the back anymore. And then begin to walk yourself up, and we'll take our arms behind us. Let's go ahead and interlace the fingers behind your back and begin to look up. So extending the spine, drawing the hands back and away. Perfect. All right, go ahead and exhale. Just kind of shake those shoulders out, maybe round the shoulders a couple of times. All right, little bit of hip work. So we're just going to pick up this left leg, flex at the ankle. Just begin to cradle the leg in towards your chest. Make sure you sit up nice and tall. Just a little rocking motion. And then stacking the heel on top of the thigh or the calf. This is a great use for the block. You can set that in the space underneath the knee. This is double pigeon pose or fire log. I could do with a little outside fire here. We will build heat into our practice in just a little bit. One more breath. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. We're going to take a twist to the right. So that left hand can come to the sole of the foot as you look over your right shoulder. I find that this gets a little bit more into that top left hip as we revolve and twist. Stay nice and tall through your torso. And then next inhale, let's swing back around, reach the palms overhead. Beautiful. Exhale, slide the hands down to the heart space. Let's try, it's a little tricky here, but let's try to go ahead and keep the hands right here together at the heart space and just switch your feet out. You can hold on to the opposite side, the right foot, cradle the leg into your chest. So notice here, like this is my tighter side, that you may not be able to draw the foot in as close. You may not feel like you can connect the hands or bind the hands, but sit up nice and tall. So it's better to not compromise that nice tall spine. Little rocking motion. It always feels good in the morning. All right, and then stacking the heel wherever it will set, on top of the thigh or the calf. And then notice the amount of space you have on this other side. So two sides might be different. You may or may not need the block, just to give you a little bit of comfort. Lifting up through the crown of the head, sitting up nice and tall. Double pigeon pose. Next inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. We're going to turn towards the left, so towards that top foot. Your right hand comes to the sole of the foot as you twist and look over that left shoulder. Rooting up through the sits bones. Use that right hand as a little leverage against your foot to deepen your twist. And inhale, reach the arms back up overhead. Exhale, hands to the heart space. One of the things that I love about this gallery view that we're on is I can see everybody kind of raise their arms up. Let's draw our legs out nice and long on the mat. And maybe place your block towards the front edge of your mat. So we have it here in just a minute. So Dandasana, hands go alongside of your hips. Flex your ankles. See if you can really draw those toes in towards your shins. Maybe the heels lift up off the mat an inch or so. Inhale, reach up. Gain some length in the torso and then begin to hinge forward. See if you can keep lifting those heels. That's the hard thing here. And maybe let the hands come on down on either side of the shins. Not necessary to reach the feet. Good morning, hamstrings. Inhale, come on back up. And exhale. We're just going to do a little reverse plank. So take your hands back behind you. Point your fingertips towards your sits bones. We're going to lift the hips, reverse plank. Maybe gaze up at the sky or the ceiling. Keep lifting the hips. And exhale, lower. Perfect. Go ahead and shake those shoulders out if you'd like. You can bounce the legs a little bit. From here, we're going to make a transition to hands and knees. So just a couple of cat and cow poses. Inhale, drop the belly and lift the heart. And exhale, round cat pose. If you want to kind of get your feet involved in this a little bit, you can tuck your toes under as you lift your chest to kind of dig those toes into the mat, stretching the bottom of the feet. Exhale, round into cat, untuck the toes, press the tops of the feet to the mat as you reach the navel towards the spine. Inhale, reverse, tuck the toes under, cow pose. And just kind of keep moving with your breath. And you can keep the feet moving as well, warming them up. One more round here, cat and cow. And then begin to lengthen the hips towards the heels. You can stretch the arms out in front of you, coming into child's pose. Bow the forehead down towards the mat. All right, next inhale, come on up to hands and knees and step the right foot forward. So next to your right hand. And then begin to come into this nice deep low lunge. So the hips come forward. Stay nice and light on your fingertips. If you need to walk the foot forward as you come into a deeper lunge, you want to make sure the knee doesn't pass the foot. Play tug with your dog. All right. From here, we're going to reach the arms up overhead, crescent moon pose. See if you can keep the hips pressing forward. And then on your exhale, take the hands down. Make sure you position them right underneath the shoulders. And we're going to swing that right foot back. Pointer dog. Right heel reaches out. Opposite left arm extends. Gazes down at your mat. Feel the length in your body from the fingertips to the heel. And then on your next breath, inhale, lengthen maybe another inch or two. And then draw the knee to the elbow and extend again. And knee to elbow and extend. Third time, knee to elbow, a little bit of core work and extend. And then take the hand and the knee back down to the mat. We'll switch sides, left foot steps forward. Begin to find your low lunge here. Getting into the front of that right hip flexor. Stay light through your fingertips. Keep the hips pressing forward. Reach the arms up. Crescent moon pose. Beautiful sky this morning. Going to be a beautiful day. On your exhale, take your hands down directly underneath your shoulders and reach that left heel all the way through and back. Gaze down at your mat. Make sure that you're keeping your neck in a nice neutral plane. That'll help us ground for our pointer dog. Right arm extends forward when you're ready. Inhale, lengthen. Fingertips to heel. Exhale, elbow to knee. Kind of making a cat back. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, curl in. Inhale, reach. Last time, knee to elbow. Inhale, lengthen. And then take the hand and the knee down to the mat. So just for fun here, we're gonna tuck those toes under and we're gonna walk our hands back to screaming toe pose. So everyone's going to just kind of feel their way to what's comfortable for them. You may keep a little bit of your weight forward depending on how those feet are doing. Oh my gosh, I went to an event in person the other day and I had to wear heels. So it's kind of nice to find those arches of your feet every once in a while. So grounding down, hips through the heels. You decide how much stretch you want here. If you can take your fingertips and let them kind of reach down to the ground, draw your shoulders back, great. If not, you want to keep your hands forward a little bit, that's fine too. And then walk your hands forward, a little bit in front of your shoulders. You can keep those toes tucked under, root the hips back and away. Find your first downward facing dog. Separating your feet about hip distance apart. Go ahead and pedal the knees out. Walk your dog. And then look up to your hands. Take as many steps as you need. Take your time. Walk to the front of your mat in your forward fold. And just hanging here like a rag doll. Now, option to shake the head yes, shake the head no. Tension out of the neck and the shoulders, perhaps a sway. And then on your next breath, inhale, come on up halfway. You're lengthening the spine, half lift. Exhale, fold. Let all the breath out. Your next inhale, root to rise. We're going to reach the arms all the way up overhead. And just stretch here, fingertips lifting. And then take your left hand over to the right. And then side bend over to the left. Really getting into that side waist. So we're going to be building up into this half moon pose. So we've stretched the hips. Now we're getting into that side waist a little bit more. Inhale, reach up. Switch your grasp. Exhale, side bend. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hinge and fold over. Let all the breath out. And then come on up halfway. Exhale, fold. Let the breath out. Inhale, root to rise. Gaze can go up. Navel draws into the spine. Exhale, slide the hands down to the heart space. Just take a moment here in Anjali Mudra. You decide you can close your eyes. Maybe you keep a little light. Find a drishti, a gazing spot. Tune into your breath. And then on your next inhale, we're going to move through a sun salutation. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge and fold over. Your next inhale, come on up to your half lift, telescoping the spine out nice and long. Exhale, begin to bend your knees. Plant your hands, step your legs back. Find a nice strong plank. When you're ready, lowering down, chaturanga. Knees can dip first if you'd like. Hug your elbows in towards your rib cage. Gently peel up, cobra pose. Make sure this is a back bend and not just an arm straightening process. Exhale, lowering down, tuck the toes, down dog, root the hips back, find stillness, find your breath. Notice the length in your spine, the opening in your shoulders. Slight bend to the knees, step your feet forward, come on up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root to rise. We'll come all the way back up and exhale, lower the hands to the heart space. So we're going to warm up a little bit more, come into chair pose, Utkatasana. Hands can either be at the heart space, or if you prefer, you can reach them up overhead parallel. Keep the heart and the gaze lifted. Drawing the navel in towards the spine, engaging the core, maybe sit a little deeper. Take a nice deep inhale. Exhale, hinge and fold over. Inhale, come on up to your half lift. And on your exhale, bend the knees, plant the hands, send the legs back, plank. Lowering when you're ready, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra, or perhaps you're ready for that up dog. And exhale, down dog. Let's take that right leg up high to the sky, three-legged dog. And then step that right foot between your hands. Turn your back left foot out to the left. And we're going to windmill the arms open to a T, warrior two. Gazes over your right fingertips. Right knees right over the ankle. Notice that the hips are opening towards the long side of your mat. Flipping that right palm up, reverse your warrior. Again, getting into that side waist. And then from here, the right forearm comes on down to the thigh. Left arm reaches alongside of the ear, extended side angle. Gaze can go up. Keep the shoulders stacked. Try not to let that left shoulder round forward, but draw it open. Next inhale, come on up to your warrior two. And then cartwheel the hands down to the mat. You can pause here in your lunge. When you're ready, step back, plank. We'll move through a vinyasa to the other side. So your vinyasa can be cat cow or chaturanga, back bend to down dog. And then we'll take the left leg up to the sky, three-legged dog. And very important here for alignment, draw that left foot forward in between the hands. Open the right foot out 45 degrees, 50 degrees or 60 degrees, but out towards the side of the mat. Arms come out to a T and gazes over your left middle finger. So taking time to breathe here in our strong warrior two pose. Opening the hips. You can always gaze down at this left knee, make sure it's right over the ankle and not drawing it in. Flipping that left palm, reverse your warrior. Feeling that stretch into the side waist. Left forearm down to the thigh. Extended side angle. Beautiful. Gaze can go up underneath that right bicep. Really drawing long here from the right fingertips through the right side body, all the way down to the right pinky toe side of your foot. Next inhale, come on up to warrior two. Cartwheel the hands down to the mat. You can pause in lunge, step back plank, and move through your vinyasa. Chaturanga, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Root the hips back and away. Let's take 3 connecting breaths here in our down dog. Rooting the hips back. Feel the length in your spine. Slight bend of the knees. Step or jump your feet forward. Come on up halfway. Gaze should be down at the mat, getting the length in the spine and the neck. Exhale, fold. And inhale. We're returning to chair pose. So hands at the heart space, chest lifted, or arms up overhead. Try to get this nice vertical alignment of hands over shoulders, shoulders over hips, hips over heels. And if you'd like, you can rise up onto those tippy toes, strengthening the ankle. Press all the way up to standing, tall on the tippy toes. And then exhale, lower the hands, lower the heels. Very nice. Okay, take that block. We're going to do this same sequence. We're going to come into half moon. If you want to use your block, make sure that that block is near the front of your mat. So mindfully, we have to kind of place our feet about a foot away from that block, maybe a foot and a half, depending on the length of your torso. Inhale, reach up, full breath. Exhale, hinge and fold forward. So as you fold forward here, inhale, come on up halfway. And you know that block is in the right position if your nose is right above the block. Exhale, fold. Begin to bend the hands. Carefully place those hands on either side of your feet so that you're still keeping that distance of a foot and a half behind the block. Slowly lower. Should be plenty of room. Do not run into that block. Peel up, cobra pose. And then tuck the toes, down dog. Reach the right leg up to the sky, 3-legged dog. Step the foot between the hands, plant the feet. You're opening that back left foot out to a 90-degree angle, pointing to the left side of the mat. So your feet are perpendicular, warrior two pose. Notice your alignment, block, right foot, left foot, all in one tightrope. Flip that right palm up, reverse your warrior. Get into that side waist. And then extended side angle, right forearm to thigh, left arm reaches alongside of your ear. Gaze can go up. Now, really important here, we're going to come into half moon from this position. It's very important that we keep this left shoulder open and stacked. So you're going to take this right arm off the right thigh. You're going to reach it forward. You can kind of step this leg in just a little bit so you can find that reach. And then float the left leg up, half moon. You can take the gaze up to the lifted left hand, keeping the shoulders stacked, and then slowly coming back, warrior two. So keeping that same distance from your block, hands come down to the mat, step back, plank. Move through your vinyasa. This can be cat and cow, this can be chaturanga. Inhale to your back bend. Exhale, tuck the toes, down dog. And then we'll switch sides. So the left leg reaches up, three-legged dog. Stepping that left foot between the hands. Really take your time here to get that alignment. So block, left foot, right foot, rise up. You got it. Warrior two. Hips are open to the long side of the mat. You could always adjust your distance from the block at this point. And then flip that left palm up, reverse your warrior. Left forearm down to the thigh, extended side angle. Keeping the shoulders stacked. So a common problem with balance in half moon is that this top shoulder rounds forward. You want to keep yourself open and the shoulders stacked on top of each other. Whenever you're ready, this bottom left hand can reach for the block. Don't be afraid to step this back leg in a little bit and then float on up. Half moon. You can keep your gaze straight ahead or keep it more grounded. Challenge would be to look up. I have a helicopter going above me. Slowly come back, warrior two. Sometimes coming out of the pose is harder than getting there in the first place. Cartwheel the hands down to the mat. Take that connecting vinyasa. Move with your breath. Any set of poses will work. And we'll eventually all meet in down dog. Rooting the hips back and away. Maybe a slight bend to the knees. You want to feel the length in your spine. Slight bend to the knees. Look up to the hands. Step your feet forward. Again, the distance is roughly 1.5 feet behind that block. Rise up halfway. You're gazing down, nose is over the block. Exhale, fold. And inhale, root to rise. You're coming all the way back up to standing. And exhale, lower the hands to the heart space. So just a moment here in Anjali Mudra. Hands at the heart space, evening your breath out. And from here, let's just take that right leg straight back. So kind of visualize your legs in 2 track lines. Make sure that this right leg is not in the same tightrope as the forward left foot, but the legs are in 2 track lines. And that's going to help us with balance here. Reach the arms up overhead, high lunge. Reach through that back right heel, lengthening the right knee. That left knee stays right over the ankle. If you'd like, go ahead and clasp the fingers and point the index fingers overhead. Steeple mudra. And if your balance will allow, see if you can take your gaze up. And perhaps even drop the hands back behind your neck, getting a little stretch into the triceps. Exhale, take the hands down to the mat. And you're kind of in a lunge position here. Walk your hands to the right side of your mat. Parallel the feet, expanded legs stretch here. Wide leg, forward fold. Hinge and fold forward. Drop the head, the neck. Maybe shake the head yes and no. And then walk your hands over to your right foot, so towards the back of your mat. Start to bend this right knee. Skandasana, just a little side lunge here. Definitely heating up being next to this heater here. Point and flex the left foot. And if you want, maybe take the hands to the heart space. Try to balance, lifting the heart. This is also a great time to use that block just to kind of bring the floor a little closer as you gain your balance. Take the hands to the mat. Come on back to your expanded leg. Forward fold. Hinging at the hips. Crown of the head towards the mat. And then walk your hands over to the left foot, bending the left knee. Skandasana on the other side. Whew. So again, great time to use that block to lift the chest, bring the shoulders back a little bit. You can keep your hands on the block, point and flex the right foot and ankle. Maybe try balance. Walk your hands to the front of the mat, lunge, step back plank, lower chaturanga. Inhale, peel up, find a nice opening in the heart space, cobra or up dog. Exhale, down dog, root the hips back and away. Slight bend of the knees, look up to your hand. We're just going to step our feet forward and then come all the way to the top of your mats and have a seat at the top of your mat. So here, we're just going to be in Sukhasana pose for a couple of breaths, taking in the morning. Perhaps you close your eyes. Notice how you feel. And then bringing the knees in towards each other, hugging them into your chest. You can lift the heels, point and flex the ankles maybe a couple of times. I think that always feels good, especially after that earlier screaming toe pose. If you want to come into a boat pose, you can lengthen the legs, extend the fingers. Find some length in your spine here and your neck. Gaze maybe up, about 2/3 up the wall. Gazing to the top of my tree tops here. And then slowly, with control, drop the feet down to the mat. And maybe one vertebrae at a time, lower all the way down to your back. You should have plenty of room behind you to lower down. And then once you're here, walk your feet in towards your sits bones and maybe just a little gentle twist, drop the knees from side to side like a windshield wiper. We did do a little bit of a double pigeon pose earlier, but if you want to get a little bit more of that hip stretch in, you can take that right heel up towards the ceiling or the sky, cross the right ankle over your knee, and then reach the hands behind the left thigh. Settle in here, so drawing that left knee closer to your chest. I always find myself kind of jutting my chin up here and scrunching my shoulders. So you want to try to lengthen through the crown of the head and draw that chin kind of down toward your throat. If you want a little bit more core work, you can straighten that left leg. You can walk your hands, go ahead and kind of crunch up. Walk your hands up to the calf or the ankle, whatever you can reach. And then slowly release, uncross the legs, and we'll switch sides. Left leg reaches up, cross the left ankle over the right knee. Hands can interlace behind the right thigh. So as you settle into this stretch, kind of melting the shoulders back to the mat, lengthening through the crown of the head, drawing that knee a little closer to your chest. The stretch here is in the outer left hip. This is a short muscle called the piriformis. It gets really tight on most of us. It can stand to be stretched every day. Take the right heel up if you'd like, and perhaps walk your hands up to the calf or the heel or whatever you can reach. And then slowly release. And before we come into Savasana, just kind of deciding for yourself what might be best. You can hug your knees into your chest, draw your forehead to your knees, curling up into a little ball. Perhaps you want to come into happy baby, fingertips on the outer edges, pinky toe sides of the foot. Really draw the hands down. So you're like pulling down on those heels. That's also a great stretch for the feet. And then begin to rock if you'd like. So you can take a couple twists here if you'd prefer. Shoulder stand, bridge pose, all kinds of options if you're not a fan of happy baby. And then begin to release the legs back on down to the mat. Lengthen your legs onto the mat. Wiggle your shoulder blades underneath you. We'll come into Savasana for maybe just 2 or 3 minutes. And then what I'm going to do is quietly let you know that I'm ending the class. And you can either come out of Savasana at that after those 2 or 3 minutes, or you can continue in Savasana. for as long as you'd like. So it's up to you. But let's just quiet down here for a moment. I have my bird soundtrack on. Continue in Shavasana if you would like to. I'm going to go ahead and end the class now. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you all next time.